Good morning and welcome to our annual donor appreciation event, which we're obviously forced to conduct virtually this year due to the pandemic. On behalf of DePaul, I'd like to thank each of you for taking the time to be with us today. And we acknowledge that the pandemic has forced us all to endure too much screen time while preventing us from gathering together in person. But we'll obviously look forward to that when we reconvene in 2022. However we connect, the purpose of the day remains the same, and that is to thank you, our donors, as the work that we do would be impossible without your support. Before we begin today's program, I would like to acknowledge and thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Pinnacle Financial Partners, our visionary sponsors, Fotai Flynn Lowen and Company, Marcia McLennan Agency, and Segra, and our supporting sponsors, American National Bank and Trust Company, Gil Lynch of Davenport and Company, Sir Speedy, Steve Bowery of Wilbank Smith and Thomas Asset Management, and Woods Rogers. The generosity of these organizations and individuals allows us to bring you today's stories of hope and belonging. Their support also means that the contributions that you make go directly to serving the children, teens, and individuals with disabilities that we serve. DePaul's core belief is that everyone deserves to hope and to belong, and that vision has not been deterred by the events of the past 12 months. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to Amanda Stanley, our President and CEO. Amanda and her team guide us with a vision and curiosity towards what the future could look like and a dedication as to how to make that a reality. And that was no more evident than in 2020 in the impacts of COVID-19 on DePaul's operations, its impact on our staff, and how we deliver our services. We're pleased to report that we persevered and did that. So please join me in welcoming Amanda, and thank you again for joining us today and for your continued support.
Thank you, Greg, and welcome everyone. Thanks for being here today, and really thank you for being with us for the whole year that is behind us. Your presence has been woven in to our day-to-day, and it is woven into the stories that you will hear today because the support that you have provided has really made it possible for us to continue in the face of all the disruptions brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a phrase I've used a lot this year, and that is making space. And there's good reason for that. Families have made space in their homes for new people to come live with them, grow, and heal. Our staff have made space, literal space, in their dining rooms and side porches for makeshift home offices so that they can provide virtual home visits and therapy sessions for the people we serve. Children who have been let down a dozen times before meeting their DePaul people made space in their hearts for one more grown-up to build trust with them. And you made space for the work of DePaul. Every time you mailed a check or clicked that donate button, giving of your own precious resources to invest in the lives of people you will probably never meet, people whose worlds are now safe because of the unconditional love of a family. You know, we've always been able to count on our physical environments at DePaul to help us build safe space, right? In our offices, in our foster family and adoptive family homes, in our day support centers around the state. And we've missed that. But this year has taught us that the space we provide for one another and the courage that it allows actually extends far beyond the bounds of physical surroundings. It reminds me a lot of the way my parents used to talk to me about church when I was a little girl, and maybe this is your story too, but they said to me, Mandy, the church isn't a building, right? It's not the place with the steeple. The church is the people. And the same is true with DePaul. We are what we are, and we do what we do because of who we are. We are people on a mission to make no matter what families possible for everyone, no matter what. And we learned that hope and belonging persists relentlessly, even across computer screens, mobile phones, and socially distant visits from driveways and front porches. And I want to share with you today, before you get into the video journey that we'll take you on, just how persistent hope and belonging is, even in the face of daunting limitations like we had this year. Our staff and caregivers gave intense and impressive hours to the people that we serve, while you, our donors, invested funds in what has become DePaul's biggest fundraising year in our history. And with your help, we invested in more than 800 lives through our foster care, adoption, community-based services, group homes, and sponsored residential programs. We even started new programs, extending access to therapeutic services for areas of our state that were previously underserved. And we launched our first substance abuse services to address what continues to be the number one reason children are removed from their families of origin. DePaul facilitated more than 100 adoptions, finalizing the no matter what love of a forever family to children who have waited a very long time. We began our collective deep dive into the work of racial equity, recognizing it as integral to the work of hope and belonging. We published, for the first time ever, a beautiful and timely children's book to help kiddos process their anxiety around this and other times in their lives. We recruited a growing number of sponsored care provider families to serve individuals with disabilities in their homes, and we welcomed new clients into that program. We've done a lot with your help this year, and it's made a difference. The word unprecedented has been used countless times to describe the challenges that we have all faced this year. And it is also an appropriate word to describe the ways that we have overcome those challenges with our staff and our families and with you, and that is with courage and conviction. We have all braved new territory together. We have shown up again and again with our talents and our gifts and our resources in service to this mission that brings us all together. So my hope for you today, in the time that we have together, is that you will relish this video journey through the impact that you've had, that you will see yourselves in it, that you will see yourselves in the hope, and that you will rest in the gratitude that we are going to pour on you for the way you have supported us. My hope is also that you will feel inspired to continue your partnership with us and to share our story with others, because we are setting our sights on a horizon much further down, and we are making plans to make hope and belonging a reality for the tens of thousands of Virginians who are still waiting for the unconditional support of a family they deserve. We will continue to brave new territory, and we will continue to lean on you for the vision which we cannot accomplish alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, and good morning, faithful donors. I have the honor of introducing you to 3 incredible stories of hope this morning. Your donations are making these stories possible. First, I'd like to introduce you to the Haas family. When they began their foster care journey, they made a promise to themselves to keep their hearts and minds open. They made a commitment to unconditional love, no matter what. As you'll hear, the journey was not easy, but hope and belonging endured, and their heart grew for this work. They created space for more love. Take a look.
I worked with at-risk youth, many of them who were in foster care, and noticed that they really just needed somebody to care and somebody to love them. And so it kind of started me on this journey of wanting to become a foster parent. And when I met Beth, it was kind of like a non-negotiable for me of, I want to have a huge family. I want to adopt a bunch of kids. We had settled on one. You see us now. And then I met Scott through real estate, and he's on the board at DePaul. And we talked extensively about DePaul, and we fell in love with the people of DePaul and your mission and your vision and your principles. So the 2 little girls, it was an amazing journey that we had at first with them. Honestly, there were many roadblocks that we had to overcome in like raising them and helping them, you know, kind of get to where they are today. They're so much fun. They're little princesses. They love to play. They love to do tea parties. They are always, always, always moving. And their love is just the sweetest. We started spending some time with the boys, and they're 10 and 14. Totally different raising a 4 and a 5-year-old and then a 10 and a 14-year-old. They're a ton of fun. They're little jokesters. They love to play pranks. We play card games every night.
We look at pictures of them when they first came to us, and they don't look like the same children. Dark circles around their eyes, their faces were kind of sunken in, and now they just look so vibrant and alive that it's just pretty amazing.
We added it up the other day for some reason, I'm not really sure why, but there's over 45 hours a week of therapy between these 4 children. One person who really sticks out in our journey is Janelle, right, with DePaul. She has been an absolute godsend to us. She really taught us how to be parents and how to parent children that come from hard places. And she really just always had our back and advocated for what was best for them. Beyond that, it's a lot of love, right? Like showing them, I think unconditional love is probably the most important part of the work that we've done so far with them. Obviously there's therapists and there's social workers and there's case managers and things that have been great helps. But at the end of the day, telling the kids, no matter what happens and no matter what you do, you're always our family and we'll always love you.
It has changed who I am as a person. Now I'm just a completely different person all the way around. And it's hard to explain, but it's just opened, my heart and my mind.
It's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And the flip side of that is that there's so many more wonderful and beautiful things that they bring to your life. It hasn't just changed our lives. It's changed the lives of every person around us. Fundamentally, everybody has changed because of this experience and because of these kids that have come into our lives.
It's not often that a sibling set of 4 can remain connected once they end up in the foster care system. But Christina and Beth were committed to ensuring the bond that Dylan and Damon, who were in school the day we shot this video, and Destiny and Danielle shared, was not broken. Life, as you saw, for the Hosses is busy and hectic, and we're grateful they took time to share their story with you. Up next, I have the honor of introducing you to Lily, her family and her compassionate caregiver. I can speak from experience that challenges and crossroads come with raising a child with disabilities, and you end up lingering at what's the next step for your child. Lily's parents, Robert and Jessica, were at such a crossroads. They couldn't imagine Lily living in someone else's home, but they knew that she needed more support than they could give. Lucky for them, they were introduced to DePaul and met Joyce. Through our sponsored residential program, Lily is thriving in Joyce's home and staying connected with family. Here is their story.
My desires was to have adults in my home. And while waiting, I got a call and asked me would I be interested in taking a child. And I was already supervising a group home with adults. And I had to think about it because I just raised 6 kids of my own. But I prayed about it. I said, Lord, this child had came into my life for some reason. I don't know, but I know you know. When she came with me, I think a lot of people didn't really think, well, how is that going to work? But Lily has been a joy. She has blossomed. She's very outgoing and she's very free. She's a lot of fun. She likes to laugh and she likes to play boo. We go to the park, just do all kinds of little different things that children like to do. She likes to play games. Most of the, like I said, she likes to boo is her favorite. that she wants to do with people. A lot of people don't understand that's what she's doing, but she's very happy to be able to boo someone. I always say she makes me younger because she keeps you on your toes. And like I say, it's just been a great joy. It's been a challenge, but it's been a good challenge. And at this time, I wouldn't want it any other way.
We really lucked out with Joyce. It really all worked very well, and I don't think it could have gone any better, really, than it has. She has a lot more independence there. Joyce is able to let her sort of have reign of the house. We don't have to, there's no other small children that have to be monitored. Like the whole house can basically be set up for Lily instead of, you know, one of 3 kids. A lot of things have improved. So we're very grateful that the program exists, and we're grateful for Joyce being willing to, you know, take Lily into her home and give her the full-time attention that she really needs and allow her to be more independent and all of that. So we're very thankful.
And it's very rewarding because at the end of the day, you have done something for someone that's not able to do for themselves. When everyone works together, it makes things so much better for the child and for the adults that's working together to make things better for Lily.
Joyce made space in her heart and home to give Lily the life she deserves. When you donate to DePaul, you ensure individuals with disabilities live the life they deserve. If there's one program at DePaul that has been most affected by this pandemic, it's Options. When we closed last March, we never imagined our buildings would still be sitting vacant a year later. But Options is more than a building. It's a program of deep connections and vibrant friendships. At a time when connections and friendships are tested in our own lives, we are proud of the way our day support coordinators have remained steadfast in their commitment to help our day support participants remain connected during this time of isolation. Join me in a look back at the smiles and faces of Options. Through your generous donations, we've been able to send notes and activities to our day support participants to remain intentional about outreach and remaining connected. It's important that even though we don't see our participants every day, we keep up with what's going on in their life. We can't wait to be back in person once it's safe to do so. To Christina and Beth, to Robert and Jessica and Joyce, thank you for taking time to share your stories and for creating space in your heart and home. And to each of our donors, this is just a small sampling of the work that your donations make possible. One of the things we miss most about being with you in person at our donor brunch is eavesdropping around the table about what it is that has brought you to this work. What's your connection is one of the questions we hear. And really what people are asking is, why do you donate? It's a question we love to know the answer to because we love to know what stirs your passion. Each of you have a choice in who you donate to. There are many great nonprofits, and yet many of you choose to donate to DePaul. We asked when you registered, what stirs your passions? And many of you kindly told us. And here are some of those responses. Please know we're most grateful to each of you for your generous gifts that you give to DePaul. Your why inspires us because you are creating space in your heart for children, teens, families, and individuals with disabilities, where hope and belonging are possible. Behind each of these stories we shared today, you were there. You were making this work possible. Now I'll turn it over to Daria for her to close out our program today.
It is my absolute pleasure to close out our time together this morning, this very special gathering, this opportunity to say thank you to our beloved donors and supporters, and to show you just a few of our stories from last year and what your gifts do for DePaul children and families. It has been an honor to say thank you to each of you. I give you my heartfelt thanks, our heartfelt thanks. Your support really is invaluable to us. Your gifts have both immediate and lasting importance. Our stories are your stories, like the one you saw today about the Hawes family. You helped Christina and Beth provide a home for 4 children in foster care, which, as you heard, and we all know, requires a lot of love and support. Their story and their sweet smiles don't happen without your gifts. I'd like to once again thank our sponsors. Our presenting sponsor, who is streaming today's event in their conference rooms for all their employees to see, is Pinnacle Financial Partners. Our visionary sponsors are Foti Flynn Lowen & Company, Marsh and McLennan Agency, and Segra. Our supporting sponsors are American National Bank and Trust Company, Gil Lynch of Davenport, Sir Speedy, Wilbank Smith and Thomas Asset Management, and Wood Rogers. You are all our partners in this valuable and life-changing work, and we thank you for giving us so many reasons to celebrate and the means to keep working to help children, families, and individuals with disabilities in our communities feel hope and to feel like they belong. Thank you again for your time today. Thank you again for all of your support. We wish you all the best in this new year. Bye-bye.